Hello again. So who were able to finish this? Hi, Kasim. Good, Emily. You're still on experience. Okay. You're on the employment type. Okay, no problem. Finished, but some questions. Yeah, you should be having some questions. No problem. Good job, Ignore. Okay. So you can leave it right now. So once you came to experience or employment type, you will be doing it with me. So let me have the questions first. Gülin. You'll be asking questions about the pick list. Okay, so you can ask them when we are creating that field, okay? You couldn't find how to create, okay. We will be doing that. Okay, my friends, let's start creating our object. You already created the objects. So for me, I need to create an object. I'll be going not too fast in case you have problems or issues like the Gülin's case. You will be asking me in that specific data type creation. So for the object, ours was teacher, right? So as you can see, if I click here, directly fetched. So the fastest way to do it is copying and pasting and adding an S for the plural name. So for here, let's choose auto number. So for student, we use ST. Let's for the teacher, TH. Let's use TH, and I'm setting the starting number to be as 1. For those parts, we don't have to change anything. No problem, Kasim. But while you're creating records, it will be asking you a name each time. It will be asking you a name each time. You can either change it right now or you can keep it as it is. You see gender as well on my screen. Maybe gender. In our scenario, we don't have gender, but we have salutation, which is acting as the same purpose. So in this part, for the teacher, we're asking the salutation and it defines the gender. Yusha, I forgot to create tab. Okay, no problem. We can add it later on. Also, let's, for my case, also, I'm not going to click on this one. Okay, so this scenario will be like that. I'm also forgetting to click on that one. So I'm not putting it into a tab right now, but I can do it later on. So I will be showing you that one. So I'll be saying save. Okay, my object is created, but it's not in a tab like Yusha. So what can I do to add it into a tab? I'm clicking on setup. And I'm writing tabs here in the quick find. And I'm clicking on tabs. Okay, so for the students, I chose pencil. So I have a new custom object tab, right? So let me show this place again. In here, I will be seeing each and every custom object that I created. And this was our first object from the second session, right? You remember we created students. Now I have the teacher pending to be added into a tab. Sure, Gaia. So in here, we need to click on this new. The others are different tabs, which we will be seeing later on. Web tab, visual tab, Lightning component tab, Lightning page tab. The one we're using is custom object tabs. So I'll be clicking on new. So in here, from the objects, when I'm trying to choose it, I'll be having only the one I created, which is not in a tab. If the objects are placed in a tab, you won't be seeing them here. But for the teacher, we missed the part where we can add it directly. So I'm selecting teacher, and I need to choose a tab style. Okay, let's browse what we can do for. You can choose anything. It's not important. Sorry. So for teacher, let me choose the people. Okay. You picked the hammer. Okay. Okay, man. So for teacher, it will be a very harsh tab style, no problem. So once we selected our tab style, we'll be clicking on next. We are not doing anything on this page. This is for the visibility to profiles. So we are saying apply one tab visibility to all profiles. We are just keeping it as it is and clicking on next. So, okay. But it depends on who the teacher is, Mehmet. In this step, it's asking me which applications should I add this tab? Which applications should this tab will be visible? Again, I'm not changing any value here. I'm choosing to add it to all of them, and I'm clicking on save. So as you can see here, both objects have a tab. You can also go to this setup page, and you can see as well how did you align your tab styles. So is it okay, Yusha, right now? You added it, I guess. So everyone else, you add your object into a, you placed your object into a tab, right? Okay. Okay, now it's time to, okay, Ayben, you should be doing this. You should be going to the tabs here. And if you followed me, you will be doing the same steps. You will be clicking on new and adding it from here. You will be coming to tabs. To come here, you should be clicking on gear and setup. Okay. So let's go for the fields. To create fields, we are browsing the object manager. We're finding our object, which was teacher. And from here, the very second tab after details, fields and relationships, is the place that we're creating our fields. So let me ask, what were we calling those for? yet I haven't created any fields, but I can see that there are 4 fields here. Not yet. We haven't created the record yet, Fatih. These are fields as well, but I didn't create them. Exactly. What else can we say? Standard fields. And there was one a synonym which we can use for that. Standard, or let me write it here. So these 2 are exactly the same. So once you hear the other one, don't be surprised. The other one is called pre-built or standard. Nihan, for custom means if we make it later on, if we make a change, if we create it for the first time. For everything, like for the objects, we are calling them custom objects. For fields, if we're creating them, they are surely custom fields. So we can say these are standard fields, which Salesforce creates by itself because they are needed, right? If you don't have any fields, but you're trying to create a record, it should be keeping the information about who created this record, who changed this record, who owns this record. And this was our, what was that? Record name. So for each record, it will be giving an auto number if you select the auto number. But if you selected the name here, for each time you should be giving it a unique name. So in order not to hassle with this issue, I chose auto number. Okay, so don't forget pre-built or standard. Standard, you can say standard fields. So there is one thing, this is all, it's generally most of the time asked in admin certificates. So the question asks you that standard objects and custom objects have standard fields. So is it true or false? Yes, exactly. So we know that even if standard objects, or be it a custom object, they all have standard fields. Okay. So let's create our fields. The first one being the salutation. And it was a pick list, right? So for the field label, I'm saying salutation. Okay. Who was not able to see the values? I cannot find the values. One of you folks asked. Gülin, okay, you're typing. Okay, Gülin. Now, Gülin, as you can see here, there is one value saying use global pick list value set. So defaultly, this is pressed. So you are confused that where can I enter the values? But we will not be using global pick list for this one. Global pick list, actually, we will be learning in this very session. I will be showing you what a global pick list is, but let me make a small, let me give you small information about that. It's pick list values defined earlier in the system. We can define some pick lists ready to be used. Let's say you have a list of colors, or you have a list of states and cities of United States, or London, let's say. Canada. You can use you can store these in some place, then later you can call them here in the screen. So for our cases, we will be always be choosing this enter values. So once you clicked on that one, you will be seeing that window. And in this window, you can enter your, like Mr. and Mrs. for salutation, right? So what else is required? And it says this field should be required. As you can see here, there is one checkbox. Changing them later on is not a good way to do it. You can delete that field and you can create a new one. That's the best way. So I think you tried to change it, but as you can see, it's not that, it's not possible, I guess, to change it later on. So you should be deleting that one and you should be creating a new salutation field. So here is one checkbox. Once I click that checkbox, it's okay. So I finish the first one. So this is okay. Let's go for the other one. So I'll be first saying next without doing anything in step 3. I'll be clicking on next. Still, I won't be doing anything, but as I'm going to create a new one, I will be saying save and new. Okay. This time I'll be creating the first name. So for the first name, I'll be using text. I'm clicking on next. I'm giving the field label, then clicking on the field name here. So it's fetched. So for the lengths, I think they were 30, both of them. So length is 30. Let me see whether it is required. It's required. Okay, so I should be clicking on this checkbox, always require a value. And then I'll be clicking on next, next, save and new. So this is okay. Now we have the last name, which will be a text. The exact same values, Fatih. Duplicate means exactly the same values. Should be last name. Let me say 30. So if we say that, Fatih, let's answer your question. If I click on this one, let's say you are our teacher and I'm registering you to our system and I write Fatih as the first name. Okay, I will be saving and keeping your record. But later on another Fatih showed up and I'm trying to write Fatih there and it's saying, no, you cannot enter a duplicate value. That's why we're not clicking on this one. So if we want some fields to be unique, this is where we're gonna use this one, okay? Okay. So for the last name, it was also required. I'm clicking on require. Seniha, it was the records name. Yeah, for the ID number, it's unique, right? It should be unique. So there shouldn't be 2 items having the same ID number. Yes, the SSN number also, yeah. So, okay, for the last name, next, save and new. This is done. Date of birth. Date of birth. I think you created in this data type for the first time, right? It should be, I put, yeah, date. Okay. So for the date, also we will be entering its field label, clicking on field name. I think this wasn't required, so I'm not clicking on this checkbox, saying next, next, save and new. So we are producing our fields in a chain. Employment type says should be a pick list. The values will be full-time and part-time. I'm choosing the data type, pick list. I'm clicking on next. Employment type. Okay. Again, I won't be using a global pick list. I will be defining the values, and the first being full-time and second part-time. Let me see if this was, yeah, this is also required. It's a field that we should be filling. Okay, nothing else. Clicking on next. Next. Save and new. Done. Okay. Now creating the language field. We are requiring this field to be a multi-select pick list. As I said, a teacher can have 2, maybe more languages. The field label is language. Also, I'll be entering each and every value here. English, German, French, Spanish. But for each value, you should be keeping them on one line like this. Okay. So I keep English here because it says use first value as the default value. And in our example, we said English should be selected as default. So if I click this one, whenever I'm trying to create a record, when I came to this field, it will be showing me the options, but the English will be defaultly chosen. Okay. For visible lines, not important. Was this field required? No, this wasn't required. So I'm not clicking on required checklist checkbox. So clicking on next, next, save and new. Okay. So we're in experience. Any questions up to this point? You already created up to here, right? So by using the save and new feature, it's much more easier, right? Okay, good. So let's continue. Experience. Actually, this is not a good name, but let's, while we're creating, I'll be making it something else. This will be a number. So it should be a little bit definitive, like experience in parentheses, maybe years. So we can say something in years, so that the user would know. Let's say if the teacher has like 8 months of experience, then the only thing they can write here is not 0. Maybe they will be writing 1 here. Otherwise, they might try to write it as years and months. So the field name should be very definitive. So I call it experience in years. And we said it cannot exceed 2 digits. Okay, for the decimal places, we are keeping it 0 because we don't need decimals here. And we also said it should be required. So I'm clicking on always require a value in this field in order to save a record. Next, save and new. So is active checkbox. So this is the first time I think we're creating checkbox also. Clicking on checkbox. It will be number, yeah, as Kasım suggested there. Yeah, it is a number. And we write in parentheses in years, which means if you write that 2, it means you have 2 years of experience. Okay, field label is active. Why we are using such a field here? Some teachers may have worked in the company, but later on they leave, or maybe they leave for a period of time. Let's say they take a leave or something. You might make them active or inactive. So in here also something was required. It should be default selected. So default value should be checked. And as you can see here, for the checkbox, you cannot make that field required, right? It's not logical to make a checkbox as a requirement. So I'm clicking on next. Save and new. We have 3 more to go. Mobile. This should be in the type of phone. Field label. Okay, mobile. Well, let's say also. This will be better. Mobile number. Was it required? No, it's not required. So I'm not checking here. Clicking on next. Next. Save and new. Email field. We have a data type as email, right? We'll be using that one. So some of you might wonder, we are choosing the email, we are choosing the phone, but nothing else we're choosing there. We cannot decide for the format, which we will be doing with other features and which we will be seeing them in the upcoming lessons, that we can define a format for the phone or for the email. So maybe it will not accept the entered value there. Right now, maybe it will be accepting whether there is no @ or in the mobile, maybe we won't be using any area code or something. So we can be controlling them. There are ways to control those fields. We will be seeing them in upcoming lessons. But currently, we are doing the basic structure. So for email, should be required for our scenario, because if we don't have his email, maybe email is the best way to contact at the moment, right? For everyone. So clicking on next, and our last field is a text area. So if you ask what is the difference between text and text area, I don't have to explain it, because as you can see here, Salesforce also lets you know here. For the text, allow users to enter any combination of letters and numbers, and which we are defining the length, right? We can say 50, 30, but for the text area, allow users to enter up to 255 characters on separate lines. And also, as you can see here, long says you can write a novel here, maybe a short novel. And text area reach is, you can also use formats here. Think of the word processor. You can use formats like making the characters bold, italic. Okay, let's go and select the text area. Field label is address. It's not required. And there's nothing more to do, so I'm saying save. All right. So this was easy, right? If you had some 1 or 2 issues while you're doing it, it's totally normal. But out of that, creating an object and creating fields, good. Okay. So let's make a double check here. We have how many fields? We have 11 fields here, right? And we have 4 standard fields. So in total, we have 15 items here. So we have 15 fields here. Okay. So let's go to our sales application, click on the app launcher, click on sales. Which part did you miss, John? Not a big issue. It's not important. Don't think about it. Typo is not important. Okay. So our student's object is here, but our teacher object, where can it be? Can anybody help me where to find it? Because I add it to all applications, but cannot see it here. I have students, end of the line, more, much more clear. As you can see, teacher is here, just drag it near the students. Okay, so we have students and teachers. And let's see how they all look. So once we're here, it's will be defaultly showing you the recently viewed. So we don't have any records yet, so there are no recent views. We can change it to all and pin it here. And it says there is no records. Yes, correct, because we haven't created any new records here. So I will be creating a new one. So out of here, I have one more place to do this. And it was here, right? Also from here, I can create a new records, or either by clicking here. They both do the same. So I'm saying new teacher. So as expected, let's open our, we have some values. The 3 of those are required. Okay, they are it's showing us with the red asterisks for employment type as well. Also, we made the email. Okay, let's check. Let's call a Mr. It's very famous Tom Hardy this time. And this is the first time you're seeing the date field. So in date field, we're clicking on the calendar icon here. So yeah, first we can browse to the year. And we can choose the date for the date of birth. All right, then employment type should be selected. Let's say this gentleman is a full-time teacher. And as you can remember, we said 4 languages should be in the should be defined as values, but English should be defaultly selected because we are recruiting, or we are having the teachers who already know English. So English is here. So if he has another language, you can add it here. And experience in years. Okay, let's say this gentleman has like 14 years of experience. And as you can see, this is also default selected. So that's what we were looking for, is active default selected. This is active. For mobile name, number, you can write anything, which is not good. As I told you, we will be able to format these. We will be able to control those fields. You can write 3-digit experience. So you want to get the error. Okay, no problem. Just give it a try, Kasim, because we set that field as 2 digits. So if you write 3 digits, you will be having that we hit a snag while you're saving. So for email, abc@gmail.com and address. Okay. So you can also create a record here. Okay, it's also working. We call the auto numbering as TH. So TH001 is created. So as you can see here, I told about this view part in the previous session. We can, currently it's only showing the record name, right? This auto number, TH001. So if we want to see other fields here as well, you can come to the gear, but this time not the gear, the main gear, the gear in that window. And there is one option here saying select fields to display. If we create empty record, how to delete it? You cannot create an empty record right now, Nihan, as you see, we made some fields required, so it's not possible to create an empty record right now. At the moment, you cannot create an empty one. But if you're saying I missed to fill some fields, you can do it later on. So, okay, I'll be coming to your questions, but first let's set our display. This one I'm removing because the teacher name, it says, when it says teacher name, actually, this is the auto number. This is the SSN number. So I'm not needing this one. Well, let's keep it. Also, let's keep it. Teacher name, then I'll be needing first name. I'll be needing the last name, which is important. Also, let's put the date of birth there, plus what can we put there? Okay, the salutation. For the salutation, I'm keeping it just above the first name, so it will be a better view, like it will be saying Mr. and then Tom Hardy. And let's say finally, we want to see what languages our teachers can speak. So when I say save, as you can see right now, it's showing the record with the fields we choose to be displayed. Okay. So Nihan, I think I answered your question. You cannot create an empty record right now. We have required fields. Mehmet Akif says, I can't see those select field displays as available. Okay, so Mehmet, you're not on the all, you are on the recently viewed. So you should be first choosing all pinned list, all as a list view, and then you can pin it here. So the next time you visit this teacher's object, you will be seeing the pinned one. Okay. What is the tab functions? Which functions you're talking about, Kasim? The function of tab you're asking. Because you will be experiencing it now. After this, we will be creating app. We haven't created an app yet. So at that point, if we hadn't put it in a tab, we wouldn't be able to see our object. Okay. Or let me do something like that for my both objects. I will be detaching them from the tab. Okay. So, and then I'll be trying to create an app. And as you will be seeing that at that moment, I won't be able to choose them because they are not in a tab. Once you put them in a tab, you can, while you're creating the app, you can see your object. Otherwise, you cannot see your object. Okay, so we will be seeing that. So we will be replying your question, Kasim. You missed which part include the view part? How we change the view? Yes, okay. Let me do it from the start. We have only teacher name here. And our page was not like that, it was like that. Okay. So when you first came here, you will be in the recently viewed list. These are called list views. Okay. The list views will be defaultly recently viewed. But as long as we haven't created anything, we won't be seeing anything for the first time we entered here. So also in recently viewed, you cannot see any option here, right? You cannot choose select fields to display. So that's why we change our view to all. This means show me all of the records. And then you should be clicking on this gear icon. These parts I'm not talking about, not to confuse you, we'll be seeing them. And then you can select any type of field which you want to see in your screen, like the first name, salutation, last name, let's keep it. So let's move the salutation up here, first name, or let me take this down. Okay. So once you click save, as my chosen fields are displayed here. All right. Any more questions about what we have done so far? So I'm repeating again for the list views. As you can see, let's browse for the other ones. Let's go to opportunities. I already pinned it to all opportunities. Let me go to contacts. As you can see, it looks like there are no records, right? No, actually, there are records, but this list view says recently viewed. So I haven't viewed any records here. So there are nothing shown. But as long as I choose all contacts, as you can see, here is full of records. All contacts are here. And let me say I checked Green or Josh Davis. I'm just entering their record and I'm leaving that object, go to students, and later on I will be coming back here to contacts. As you can see, in the recently viewed, I only viewed these 2 records. So in order to see all the records in that object, your list view should be all. Okay? Clear, right? So also, if you're saying that always I'll be needing to see all contacts, you can pin this by clicking here. So the next time when I come to contacts, it will be showing all the records here. But let's suppose that you're working in a company and you're dealing with the records for the specific object, or from the Word or Excel, there is one feature recently used. So this is saving the same purpose. Recently viewed will be giving you the last items that you worked on. If there are no questions, let's try the application creation. Okay, we have 6 minutes to go. It's up to you. Give it a break or not. If you are asking for a break, just click on Kasım's post so that I'll be knowing that. Okay. Okay, folks. Let's give a 10-minute break. I'll be seeing you after the break. Okay, hello everyone. Did you all return from the break? Let's start with the questions. Okay, Ivan asked, how can I go back and add the missing fields into the teacher tab? Actually, Ivan, for the missing fields, you'll be adding them not to the tab anymore. Tab is only used for the object. If you put the object into the tab, then there is nothing you will be doing with the tab. You will be add the missing fields into the object. So for this purpose, anything we will be changing or anything we will be doing on objects, there is only one place, and it's called the object manager. So you will be going to the object manager through setup. And as you can see here, this is the object manager. Once you're in the object manager, find the teacher. And just go to the fields and relationships. And in here, let's say you want to make changes to last name, or let's say you want to make changes to the language. In here, there is an edit button. So once you're in the edit screen, you can change its field name. But as I told you, for the multi-select pick list, it's better if you have made a mistake, just delete this one and create a new one. So how can you delete this one? From the very same place, there is an option to delete the field. So we can delete the field. We can edit it. We can replace it with another one. This is not the feature we're using frequently. So from here, you can make changes. Okay. Let me see. There were other questions as well. And Candan asked, I think Korkut already replied, if we want to add the second teacher's name, that means, let me make the question better. You're saying if I want to create the second record here, you will not be doing it from the recently viewed page. You can do it from here, but you don't have to be there. You don't have to be there. So let me say for the teachers, even let's say I'm in Leeds, but I want to create a new teacher, right? I don't have to go to teachers and click on it. I just need to click here and say new teacher. Or I could click on this one and say new. Either from here or here. Also, I have a question about the fields that are created incorrectly. How can I edit the language fields? How can I get back to the adding new custom fields? Okay, so Muaz, you created the language field, right? So let's delete it. Go to the object manager first. You deleted already. All right. Okay. So you already know how to delete. Okay. Maybe in this point, it's a very brief explanation of changing the data type as well. In some cases, you will be able to change the data type. Let's say if it was a text, can you change it to numbers? Is it possible? What do you think? I have created one field in numbering text format, and I created lots of records. But later on, I'm saying I will be changing this to number. You will be losing your data, right? Because text to number is not possible. But let's think the other way around. Let's say you have a number, but later on you said that I'm going to be changing this number to text. All right, you can do it, because in text you can also write numbers, but this time it won't be treating that field as an integer or a decimal. It will be treating that field as a string. Okay. I'm glad we have done this example, because you have lots of questions, and those are good questions. In the new record, for example, name shows at the bottom. How can we set it? Okay, Kasım, okay. Your question is about the page layouts. We will be seeing them as well. We can order those fields. So let's say you created first the address and email, and then the last field you created is first name. So it won't be a very good record page, right? Starting from the address, email. It should start with the teacher's name, other personal information. Later on should be the address. So for those, we will be using page layouts. Okay. We will use page layouts to set them. Even we can put them in different components, like let me show it from here. These are components called components. Okay. So as you can see here, these are called components. So for the record page, we will be using those. So let's say for the personal information, we will make one component, we can use one component, and for the other information, we can keep them in another one. So we will all be seeing those. For example, we did the first two records, the third remained. Let's give it a try, right? Instead of wondering what will happen, let me create two more records here. I'm just filling in the required places. Oops, why? For the email, the @ is being checked. So if you do not write @ it will not be saving it. Okay, let's create a new one. Okay. So basically you're asking if we delete this one. Okay, let's delete it. It's possible. So we lost T8002 and it was a unique number. The only concern we should be having here is if I create a new record here, it shouldn't be using 2, right? Let's try if it is going to be using 2. As you can see, the 2 will never be used. Okay, so it's not a concern for us. So our records names will be going unique again. The records can be deleted. There is no problem. The only concern we should be having that it shouldn't be having a previously used record name. No, it won't change it. If it changes that one, Nihan, everything will collapse. Like say I have 12,000 records here. And from the 12,000 records, I'm deleting 5 of them. And let's say what will happen. It's not also logical because the other, this is their like birthmark. You know what a birthmark is? This is like birthmarks. And so this now sticks with this record. And this will live with this record for its life cycle in the system. Unique, yes, exactly. It will be unique, so it won't be doing that one, and it shouldn't be doing that one as well. And in computing terms, also that will cause a disaster. It will be a process background running on. And let's say you use these numbers as a reference. I think you won't be understanding what I'm saying right now, but in the future, you'll be understanding. Sometimes we will be using this unique ID to do other automation tasks in system. So if this changes based on the sort, it won't be working. Okay, so your question is answer. What about, did I miss any questions? If you're okay, if you don't have anything to ask, I will start showing you how to create the app. You're all good to go, right? Okay, there was also one question. I'm keeping it in mind, and I think I have a better solution to show it to you guys. Kasım asked that why we're using tabs, the purpose of tabs, right? So, okay, now it's ring the bell. We can do something like that. Now, these 2 objects, I place them in a tab, right? So how about I create a third one very fast. I'll be creating a third object, but this time I won't be putting it into a tab. Okay, so when we are creating our application, let's see what will happen. Let me create a object quickly. From the object manager, let me let's call it lectures. In the future, maybe we'll be having an object like lectures. Let's say lecture. Okay, let's make it auto number as well. Okay, I'm not pressing on this one. So I'm not adding it into a tab. I just created the object. Okay. So as you can see here, I have an object, right? Called lecture. So it's here. Let me refresh this page. Let's see first if it is visible in the object. I cannot see it, right? I cannot see it in the object as well. There is no lecture. The same will happen when I'll be creating the application. So get ready, guys. We are starting to create the application. So to browse through the applications or to execute an application, which part are we using right now? And what is it called? I want to use a different app, let's say. We learned that in the second session. The question, Jandan, is I would like now, as I'm in the sales application, I want to change it and I want to be I want to use another application. So where should I go? How can I do it? Yes, waffle. Waffle is the correct answer. My friends, again, this type of structure is called waffle. So I'll be clicking on the waffle. This is called the app launcher. Okay. This is the app launcher. I think it should show. Sometimes it's showing. Okay, maybe in the home page. As you can see, it hovers an information and it says app launcher. This is the place to launch the apps. But when it comes to creating new apps or making change in the existing apps, this is our famous way of going there, clicking on setup. Everybody just click on the setup. And in the quick find, just write app manager. Exactly, Korkut. The app manager is a place to change it or create a new app. So once everybody is, click on the app manager. Once everybody is here, we'll be going step by step. All right. So I assume you're all in app manager. However, we called it app manager. It is actually, its long name is Lightning Experience App Manager. So you were expecting something like Omni App Manager, right? So there is one word here, two words here saying Lightning Experience. And also, as you can see here, there is a tab saying app type. And some of them are classic, some of them are Lightning, nothing more, only classic and Lightning. Do you recall about this classic and Lightning? I'll be finding our first slide. Okay. We have seen those, but I know you are overloaded in the first session, so that is totally normal. Okay. So you remember seeing this page, right? Exactly. Actually, the old version is calling something old is very rude, you know, so it's better to say it like classic. So classic is the older version of user interface. So some companies still are using the old version. Why? Because maybe they are very large companies and have lots of staff using the Salesforce. They are accustomed. I mean, they get used to working in Classic Edition better than the Lightning experience. But for that reason, they might be continuing to use the Classic Edition. And don't think it like that. I can do something in Lightning experience, but I won't be able to do it in Classic. You can do it in both, but the thing is, sometimes they are placed in some different parts of the software. So the older version is called Classic Edition. As I said, maybe when you are graduated and hopefully get your certificate and get your first job, maybe when you go there, you can see that they are still using the Classic Edition. It might happen. And the new one, which we are using in our lessons, is the Lightning experience. It's not called the new user interface, it's the Lightning experience. So that's why they still exist, and you can switch to them. Let me show it to you. I'll be coming to here. Just you don't leave your screens. You just keep your screens. I would like to show you the Classic interface. In your profile picture here, there is an option saying switch to Classic, Salesforce Classic, and I'm clicking on it. And here we are on the Classic user interface. So it seems a little bit complicated, right? Even for me, because I'm not using this interface. Maybe if you ask me something on this interface, I'll be struggling to find that one. But as I said, some people started using Salesforce with this interface. So people sometimes resist to change, and maybe they are still using it. Our objects are shown here. So to revert back, there's switch to Lightning experience. When you click on that one, you're here. And what will you say about the interfaces? This one is better or the Classic? Old habits die hard. Exactly, Mehmet. And generally, people resist to learning or using new things. Think it like that. If you are switching to operation systems, like I started using the operation systems from the first Windows, I guess. So each time I was happy using I was very happy to get the new one. But once I set it up on my computer, it started to cause issues. Like the previous one, you can find anything easily, but the new, let's say you switched from Vista to 8, from 8 to 10, or the biggest change was like from Windows 98 to XP was a great deal of change. Actually, XP was better, but as I said previously, you already know, like your palm, where is located where. But when it's changed, it's hard. So this is the Lightning experience, and that's why we have this. Did I close mine? Yes, I closed mine. So in the app manager, there is that classification of interfaces. Okay. No, Nihan, you won't be asked about Classic. Maybe they might ask you something like that. How many user interfaces does Salesforce possess at the moment? And you will be saying that there are two, the Classic one and the Lightning. Barakato, I didn't pick anything from the app launcher right now. We are using the app manager. The app launcher is used to execute the new app. These are all applications. This is the one I created before, test app, sales, community. These are the applications. So in order to navigate through or use another application, we are using this app launcher. Or even you can click on view all. I showed this in the previous sessions. You can change their order. You can put content here. Okay. All right, so I explained here. So that's why it's calling this Lightning Experience App Manager, because we will be creating our app in the Lightning Experience user interface. So from here, we have two options. New connected app. This is not going to be, we'll be using this one. We'll be using new Lightning app. So let's click on this one. And now we all should be here in this page. So it says, give an app name. So we're doing something about education, right? I'm open to your suggestions. Let's call our app something. Curriculum, yes, curriculum can be a part of our story. So that let's not use it as the general. Think of something in a general specific, not specific in a general sense. School of Athens. Gymnasium of Plato. Yeah, that would be nice, but think it as a business application. Use something with the education, right? We can call it education, or let's say this is a company. Let's say our batch is 100, 101, right? Let's call it like this. Let's say this is our company name. And this is the rest we're using. Candan's is look better. Candan, nice suggestion. If we can make it all education company, but let's keep it like that. Okay, let's make it this. I like the name. How can we spell this one? How can we pronunciate this one? Sorry, how can we pronounce? Educa. Seems like Turkish. Yeah. All right. It looked like a food name, right? A side dish. It looks like a side dish. Okay. All right. Let's use this one. So it's Educa it is. Okay. So when I said Educa, I'm meaning our application. Let's click on developer name. Mehmet, we can use caps, but as you know, let's take a small breathing time as well. For the caps, the usage of caps has lots of meanings, but the first meaning in every place in the internet, it means yelling, or it's not the way we should be writing. I sometimes came across some LinkedIn profiles, which the candidate is writing its name in full caps. I won't recommend this to any of you. Just use the capitalized version instead. So as in, think of it like, as you can see here, anything here is like in capitals. So think of that we have Educa here in uppercases. Educa, your suggestion for the pronunciation. Okay, that's Educa. Okay, this is a description in fields and in objects. We skip this part. We don't have to write anything, but since this is the app doing a lot of stuff, maybe it is to give it a description. This app is used to automate Educa LLC processes. Let's say something like that. We can either leave this place empty. And for the apps, we can have an image like its logo. So we can use a logo here. Our logo will be shown in the application launcher. So I just found one. Okay, seems good. I'll be sharing that one with you as well. I saw this one, but it couldn't be, maybe it's not a free. Maybe it's copyrighted, so I'm not sure. I find one free one. Yeah, this one. I'm copying this into Slack so you can save it to your computer and use as the app image. Just download this image and you can use it here. So for here, let me clear it. You will be clicking on upload, then you will be browsing to the file. So it will be loaded here. For the image, I think there are some limitations, so you cannot put so large images here. So once you finish that one, just let me know. Okay, I'll be waiting for the others. Okay, once we're finished here, just click on next. So for the navigation and form factor, we will be keeping this as it is. It says standard navigation. Yes, we will be using it in standard navigation. In here, it asks supported form factors. So we want our app to be used both in desktop and mobile devices, such as phone. Okay. So we will be choosing for the both. So our application will run on each of them. Setup experience, we'll be leaving it as it is. Setup, full setup of options. We won't be using those checkboxes. We will be seeing about those in the upcoming lessons. Actually, their description is giving us an idea, but just leave them like this and click on next. So it says utility item. This utility item, sometimes they are there are some footers here acting as the utility items. So I'm not sure if I should add anything there. Guys, you don't add anything, or you can add, let's add the chatter feed. Oh, okay. For this one, we need to be giving it a name. Okay, it also suggests a name. So I think I can move from here. You don't have to do this. This is only to show you what a utility item is. There are some items placed in the bottom of your page, so you can access some features directly from there. It's the only thing. So just remove it. Let's not complicate our minds. You just remove that one. Or if you have created and select next, it's okay, no problem. All right, the most important part. So now we have app, but we should have some objects in it, right? Otherwise, what will this, how will this application will function? So, okay, from here, let's find our standard objects first. Let's add leads here. I'm clicking on the leads from here and just putting it there. Opportunity. Click on it and add it to our items. Add it as an item to our application. What else do we have? Contacts. Let's add it as well. And we have accounts, right? Okay, what else do we have? These are the standard objects, and there are some objects that we have created. And we have student. As you can see, we can see student here because we put it in a tab. That's why we are seeing it. And the teacher. Okay, I add it also to my application. So once you're finished, just let me know again. I'll be continuing from here. We're nearly finished. All right. Jasmine finished. 2 more P3. Fatih, Ayben, Nihan Gül'in, Filiz, Merve, Seniha, Buse, John, Maz. All right. So your students is not bad. And I think you know the issue right now at the moment. What could be the issue, Candan, that it's not showing here? Yes, exactly. You should put it in a tab. It's not important. You can later on, we can always come back and add new items. I mean, the new objects. Even not from here. We don't have to be using the screens. Once you place it in a tab, we can add it into our application. It's easy. So as you will remember, I created a quick object called lecture. So same as Candan, I cannot see it as well because on purpose, I didn't put it in a tab. Now, do we all understand how important is a tab? You are using it once, but once you miss to place your object in it, you cannot see it. So it's for visibility, it's for navigation, it's a navigational item. All right. So I cannot find the lecture. Okay, let's say, okay, let's add reports as well, maybe when we start the reports, but there's still too much time. Okay, I'll just edit. Let's make it a little bit crowded. Let's add dashboard. Okay. So in here also we can decide the order to see them. If I move student to top and the teacher to top, that means from left, it will be sorting them like in here. Actually, Korkut, I think you clicked on that checkbox. As you will remember, there was a checkbox at the bottom of the page when you're creating the object. So I think you press that checkbox. So once you finish creating your object, it directly sends you to add a custom tab setting. So from there, I think you add it into a tab. To move up, okay, John, then it's like that. Let's say I'm going to be moving the reports. It will be like this. I'm clicking on this one, and from that arrow, I can take it anywhere I want. Dragging is not working. You can only use those, right? No problem, Korkut. Great. So you added our items, right? I mean, up to this point, you might ask me, we were using objects, later on we changed them to items. Yeah, there are some things we are, as I said, meaning that exactly the same thing, like in the pre-built fields and the standard fields is the same thing. And in the app, it's not calling them objects, it's calling them as items. But why it's calling them items? Because you put them into a tab, and a tab is what? A tab is all right. I can't put it in the app because I haven't created a teacher. That's totally normal, Hayrullah. If you haven't created an object, you won't be able to see it. So just put the students there, no problem. But later on, create the teachers as well. I shared the Excel. Because in the upcoming lessons, we will be using those objects. We will be adding them new fields. We will be creating relations in between them. So we will be using those objects. For our examples, we will be using these two objects. Maybe we will create 2 or 3 more. Because you will, no problem. Okay, so, but don't forget to add, create the teacher object and add it later on to this application. Because as I said, our lessons will go on like, we will be doing exactly the same thing and we will be building the app. Yeah, actually also as Korkut suggested, you might refer back to the recording. I think they will be uploading, it will be uploaded tomorrow, so you can watch the video and create the object and how you can also see how to put it in a tab, how to put it in an application. So from this point on, let's click on next. All right. So right now, who are we in the system, my friends? Who are we? We're super users, right? We have some super permissions. Okay, just put the student currently for your app. Later on, you'll be adding the teacher. So this says this application is created and will be used or will be accessed by this profile or by this user, let's say. Who we are in the system right now and who you are in the system right now. What is your user? What you are called in the system. You're not, Korkut is not Korkut in the system. It's his name, but he's, no, we are all system administrators. All right, so we are saying that system administrator, only we can be accessing this application. But let's say in future, you're working in a company, you created an application, and this application is for the sales team. So you will be choosing sales here. Maybe there are some managers who needs to be accessing that one. Let's say the solution manager will be accessing that one. So you can choose them and you can drag them here. But at the moment, all we need is system administrator. If you forget to add yourself as a yourself, I mean the system administrator, you won't be using this again. So what will happen if I don't choose this one? As you can remember in the waffle, when I click the waffle and when I say click all, I see all the applications, right? Even if I say view all, I won't be able to see myself if I do not add my profile here. All right. So it's already done. Click on finish. Don't forget the system administrator. Okay, let's see how our application looks, right? Okay, go into that app launcher and click on view all. Okay, here it is, Educa. So I'll be dragging it and putting it on top because we will be using this frequently. Is everybody able to see their applications? Not there, the Educa, our application. All right. How does it look? Nice, right? So click on that one. Click on Educa. So we are in our application. And as we ordered or as we sorted our objects, students, teachers, reports, leads, opportunities, contacts, accounts, and dashboards, they are all here, right? Now, I'll be showing you, as you can remember, I created the lecture, you remember, right? I created lecture without the tab. Let's put it in a tab. You don't have to do it, just follow me from the screen. I'll be going to tabs, clicking on tabs, and my student teachers are here. I'll be saying I want to create a new custom object tab. And when I click here, I'll be seeing lecture. Let's see something looking like a lecture. Okay, let's choose computer. Next. next, save. So I already put lectures in a tab, right? But in my application, it's not there. So I can add this new object by using the previous screen. You remember? Let me open it as well. Let's use App Manager and let me see. This is the old page. Let me refresh this one. Let's find here. Here's our application. I can choose to edit it from here. So in the very same page, but this time it's showing it a little bit different. It's not important. It's actually the same things. As you can see here, let's see, lecture is coming up or not. Okay. This is taking a little bit time for the new tab. So let's say if this was updated, I will be seeing the lecture here. So I will be adding it from there. But instead of doing that one, there is also another way. I think I need to log out and log in for this one. Okay, let's do it. Okay, I'm clicking on our app. So instead of going there and doing it, there's also another way I can do. Here is the pen, as you can see here. If you click on this pen, and if you click on add more items, let me see if the lecture is coming up. As you can see, lectures is here right now. So I can click on this one and I can say add. Now the lectures is added to my application. Once I click save, as you can see, my application, my object with no fields. All right, so there are two ways. If I can either use the app manager again, or I can add it from here. The only criteria I have is this object should be in a tab. Okay. No, we added into a tab, Korkut. Already I added into a tab. Just before I'm adding it here. I think you missed that part. I added into a tab right now. That's why I'm seeing it here. No, at the beginning, there was no lecture. We weren't able to see it. Okay, let's try something else. Let's take it from the tab again. It's been a bit fast. For which part? I can do it again. I can show it again. Let's remove lectures from here. Okay, no problem. I will be removing lectures. So how to remove an object? Okay, I'll be going slow. I'm clicking on this pen. I haven't added my students, still the same. I can see it on the tab, but I cannot be added. That's not possible. Did you move it from one window to another? Maybe you missed that part, Candan. So I'm removing the lectures. Okay. Let's see, lectures, and I'll be saving it. As you see, there are no lectures here. Let me remove its tab so that you will understand it. I'll be going to tab. Now, currently the lectures is in a tab, right? So I'm deleting this one. And as you can see, it's without a tab right now. So let's get back to Educa. Actually, I'm still in that one, but I'll be refreshing the page. So the lecture is also not here, right? And I will be trying to add it. When I try to add it, I'll be clicking on this pen. These are the objects that I'm using right now. These ones, as you can see, student teachers reports up to dashboard. Now I want to add the lecture. I'm clicking on all. As you can see, Korkut, it's not coming up here because I removed it from the tab. Okay. Now let's add it back to the tab by clicking on new, lecture, Apple, next, next, save. Now I just put it into a tab. I'm doing those parts fast because we already know how to add a tab, right? Custom tab. So right now it's in the tab. I will return back here, just give it a refresh. Okay, again, I'm going to the pencil here. It's already added here. So tabs provide visibility. If you remove tabs, your object will stay in the system. You can always find your object, but you won't be able to see it. You won't be able to use it. Any more questions? Just shoot it, ask it, because these are critical parts. So when somebody asks you, I created an object, since you're a Salesforce administrator, would you tell me why I cannot find it in, why I cannot access it through my apps? Then you will be confidently asking him or her that, did you put it into a tab? Also, let's use this one. I'm clicking on the pen again. You don't have to do this one. For the remaining objects that I can add here are all listed. I can add a payments. I can add a people object. These are in the system. These are previously. Those are not our objects. These are already in the system, so you can see them as well. So this pen is actually customizing your navigation bar. So you can add and you can remove objects from here. How to add one more object in Educa? Okay, Gülin, from here you can add a new object. If it is your object, you can find it by searching it here. Currently, I cannot find anything because I already added the lecture. Let's say you created a new object called, maybe we will be creating an object called lectures, teacher, student. What else can we use in our application? Parents, maybe, yes. Or something about the payments, maybe. Actually, there is one payment, but this is already in the system. This looks like a standard one. So once we created an object, we can add it either from here, Gülin, from the pen, or we can go to where? App Manager. So in the App Manager, let's go to Educa. You can click on here and choose Edit. And you can even change the name of your application from here. You can change its icon. For navigation style, it won't be letting you change anything, but for the platform, you can change it to desktop or phone. As I said, this is for utility items. In navigation items, you will be able to see your new object. Let's say if it was parents. Well, once you created parents as the custom object and you place it in a custom tab, it will be shown here. So you will be clicking on that one and you can move it here. It's not about recommendation. Let's say there are two ways and it depends on where you're standing. If you are close to the first junction or the road, you can take it. So for me, let's say if I'm in the application, I will be using the pen icon. Instead of clicking on, instead of going to setup, app manager, and find the navigation item. If I'm in the application, currently I'm in the application, as you can see, I will be using this one because they both function same. But let's say you will be changing not only the objects in your application, you will be changing its name, changing the other options. Maybe you will be saying that I want to make this object available to marketing user. Let's say you will be making more than 3 or more changes. I will be using the app manager. So because in that page, I can do all of the modifications about the application, but in the pen, it's only the objects, the navigation items I can change here. All right. From App Manager, can you go next, please? Seniha, if you can make it a clear question. What do you mean by go next, please? Parents on. From pen, it's clear, but you want to see the other way around from the app manager. Okay, let's add a different object to Educa. So what I'll be doing is I'll be clicking on the setup to take me to a fresh homepage. I'm in setup. Okay, so I'll be clicking on App Manager. And I'll be opening the App Manager. In the app manager, it will be listing me all the applications available in the system right now. So ours was Educa, right? This one. And as you can see, our description is also mentioned here. So from here, Seniha, you're clicking on this arrow at the end of the record, this Educa record, yeah. Click on edit. Now you will be seeing those 5 tabs. As you can remember, when we were creating the application for the first time, this was the first screen we encountered, right? So we write the application name and the image, then we choose the options. Utility items, we haven't added any utility item, we just skip this part. Here is the place that you can add a new object. So let's add payment here. Oh, there are a lot of payment. Okay, use the plain one, payments. I click on this one. I add it into my items. As you can see, payment is also moved from left to right, okay, to selected items. And I'm clicking on save. That's it. So when I go back to my application, all I need to do is refresh the page. Maybe we have to refresh it a little bit more. Let's try to add it from here. Oh, it should be added. So let me log in again. I'm launching our application. Okay. Maybe this is not an object. This could be a standard object, not placed in a tab. So try something else. I tried a non-used one. So let me use a very commonly used object. Going back to setup. There to app manager. Let's find Educa. Clicking on edit. Okay, from the navigation items, let's remove the payments, but instead let's use calendar, for example. Okay, I add it to my items. Let's add another one, campaign, cases. So I added not only one, but 3 more objects, and I click on save. I turn back to my application. I'll be giving it a refresh. So as you can see, I added campaign, cases, calendar. You couldn't add students because if you're writing students, it might not came up Candan because you forgot the T while you're writing it. It's students here, students. So maybe while you're writing it on the quick find, it will not appear. Okay, just give it a try. So is it understood how to add the object to application? The both ways. There is that pen icon which you can use to customize your navigation bar, or either from here. They both do the same. That's okay. This will be a better view. Now, as I said, add more items. As you can see, it's listing the current existing ones. And this one also are my existing ones. So I can edit from here, either from here or from here. So we have our application up and running. Let me remove these because we will not be using those. So like as removing is easy from here. Let's say I'm going to be removing campaigns from here. No, for removing, it's better to use, because I saw some cross sign here, but right now it's not appearing. To remove these applications, it's better to use the app manager. Did you put them into a tab, Gülün? And did you add them, like, check your app manager? Now I'll be removing the ones that I added. Yeah, you need to refresh the page as well. And in some cases, maybe you need to log in and log out, because the browsers are sometimes trying to help you, but sometimes that method is not helping you. They are using something like called cache. The cache means you will be accessing the previous items easily, but in our case, we're changing everything dynamically. So the cache sometimes will stay the same. So in order to not to reload, it's bringing up the cache. So in some cases, it's better to log in and log out. So I will not be adding any more objects. I'll be removing these in order, because I showed them as an example. I'm removing calendar as well, cases as well. Dashboard, students, okay. Lectures, okay. Okay, great. Great. But that took a lot of our time because I was about to show you something interesting. I was planning to start the object relations, but we have field dependencies, which I plan to do it in this session, but I think we cannot do it. Doesn't matter, we will be doing in the next session. It's actually important. So my only concern is not going fast. I would like to make sure you all know and you all understand what we're seeing. We have 10 minutes. We cannot finish this one, but let's give it a start. At least we'll have some info. We'll be having some background for the next session. Okay. So the next thing we will be learning is, actually there are some other fields as well, but this future is called. Now we know about the pick lists, right? So there are standard pick lists and custom pick lists. Standard pick lists are already defined in the Salesforce. For the custom, we have two options, right? A regular pick list with one option selectable, and the other is like our language and lectures, multi-select pick list. Okay, so they have, we can give them a value. This is called value set. As you can remember, we were giving like English, art, algebra. These are the value sets that we provide. Or either we can use the globally set, I mean, previously set values. This is applicable for both of them, for multi-select pick list and for normal pick list. So we can take them from the system as a global value set. Now we will be learning how to store a global value set. So we can be using that one. So we won't have to enter each time the values. We will be calling it from somewhere else. Okay, this is called global value sets. And also, in line with this one, we will be learning the field dependencies. So this field dependency, when I said field dependency, you will be understanding pick lists and checkboxes, okay? Nothing more, only pick lists and checkboxes. So what I'm meaning by that? So let's say we have a checkbox, and in that checkbox, it's saying active, okay? And when we click on active, if a new field is appearing, that means this field controls the other fields. Okay? Did you understand this concept? Even in standard pick lists. Let me show it from the example. We will be doing as a class exercise. I'll be doing this one. You won't be doing this one. Let's say we created a field called country, right? And let's say when we click on country, these three of them will be shown in the page, but they will be inactive, these two. So it will first be asking me to choose the country. So when I choose, let's say, Canada, then this field will be active and it will be asking me, okay, in Canada, which state or province? Quebec, Ontario, British Columbia. Okay, I choose, let's say I choose Ontario, then the city field will be active and it will be asking, okay, in Ontario, but which city or town? So these will be listed. So unless I choose Canada, it will not be showing these fields. So country field will control the states field. The states field will also be controlling the city field. So in our example, this is a controlling field. This is what? It's controlling, right? But is it also a dependent field? Is it also a dependent field? Yes, the instance Emily is giving, there could be some field saying, do you have allergies? And if you say no, nothing will be happening on that page. But once you said yes, please select with what type of allergies do you have. A good example, Emily. So this is also both controlling field, but it's also a dependent field as well. Because it is depending on the upper part, the country part, but it's also controlling this part. And this field is only a dependent field. Its values are dependent on what is chosen from the country and states. So you understand the structure, right? This field is controlling the states. So that's why this state field is also depending on the country, but it also controls the city. And this poor city is only a dependent. Okay, so we can utilize this function in Salesforce. We can do that. There's a way of doing this. So I was hoping to complete this because it will be taking, it will take at least 20 minutes because should we start at least doing the pick list at least? So we will save time for the next session. So in order to build this one, or let me give you this as a homework. Should I give you this as a homework? No, I will be giving you homework, but it's something you already know. The only thing you will be doing is creating a field called country. You will be adding United States, Canada, and Australia. You are able to do that right now, right? The only thing you will be doing is creating three pick lists. For country, you will be creating values for United States, Canada, Australia. I mean, which object should we use for this one? Let's use it in student. Use the student. So in students, we will be creating new field, right? Okay, let's create this one together, at least for the country. I'm clicking on new. You can either watch, it's not important because you all are capable of doing this right now. I'll be creating one pick list, but always keep in mind, it won't be a multi-select pick list. Multi-selecting does not work on field dependencies. Let's say I choose United States and Canada. The Salesforce will be confused. Okay, so what should I do? Should I bring the cities of, the states of Canada or United States, or should I bring them both? So in multi, it's not going to work. We will be creating new pick list. So what was our first field? Called country, right? So I'll be calling it country. At the moment, we don't have a global pick list yet. Okay. Okay, we'll do it together. If we make it this way, you will be much more confused. Because first we need to define the global pick lists. I mean, it's not something you already seen. So, okay, you're like, yeah, this won't be a homework. I'll be giving you homework from the trailhead. Was it something like that? Pick. Okay, this is it. This is pick list value sets. Okay, so the next lesson will be, yeah, I know. So I won't be taking you anymore. We have 1 minute to go. Later on, you will be 10-minute break and you have SDLC. So we will be using here. So let's not give it as a homework. I'll be giving you homework for the trailhead. You will be doing this one. I'm thanking you all. I hope you learned what we have seen today. I hope it was It was a good session for you as well. If you have questions, please go ahead and ask me. The very next session, we will be starting from here, okay? We will be solving this. We will be applying this. Okay, guys, thank you all so much. Today, it was good for me because we actually passed the critical parts, and I think you all can do those and you understand the basic logic, which is very good. Thank you, guys. I'll be seeing some of you on Tuesday and some of you on Friday evening. Thank you, guys. Bye.